Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Royal once again with Skills Make You Meals podcast of the Paternity University channel. I'm here with Annalisa Abel. She is, hey, what's up? How's it going? She's excited. Yeah. How's it going? She is the owner of a virtual assistant agency as well as a course that teaches you how to become a virtual assistant who has helped so many people become virtual assistants, including the one that I have hired. So, Annalisa, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us how you feeling.
Yes. So one, thank you for having me. Super excited for this conversation. I love talking about the virtual assistant space. So I am Annalisa Abel, the owner of Elevated Assist, a virtual assistant and social media management agency. We help small business owners. We provide them with virtual assistants. We help them with social media support. And I started this business maybe 2.5 years ago. What year are we in? 2022?
2022.
Maybe 2.5 years ago, and it's really just blossomed and formed to something bigger and better than I imagined. In addition to that, I am a virtual assistant coach, so I really just teach people to do what I do, and they have the opportunity to make money from home as a virtual assistant and kind of really starting their own virtual assistant business just like me.
For sure. So you have a background in healthcare.
Yeah.
Did doing the work in healthcare inspire you to start your virtual assistant agency, or was it something else?
No, so in addition to healthcare, because well, I do still have a 9 to 5 in healthcare management, so I'm actually still using my degree. Anyone that knows me, I always talk about creating options for yourself, creating options for your life. So the virtual assistant idea kind of came to me. I didn't really actually go chasing for it. One of my first clients was Andre Hatchett, and he actually reached out to me. We had similar followers on Instagram. He said, "Hey, do you do any admin work?" And I said, "Sure." And it sounded like an additional stream of income for me. And then it just kind of just took off from there. So I wouldn't say my career path or any of my degrees led me to this actual business. It really just fell into my lap.
For sure. Have you always been entrepreneurial since you were younger, or was this kind of something that developed as you got a little bit older?
So
Or
this
into
is interesting because I've reflected on this because if you would have asked me, let's say 6 years ago, would I ever want to run a business? I would. I was so very career driven and just stuck on rising within the career ladder. I never thought about starting my own business. But when I look through my childhood, I was always thinking of new ideas. Or I would always question, I wonder how much money that business makes, or I wonder how profitable that is. Even as a young age, I think I used to sell burnt CDs when I was in middle school. Like I would be the go-to person. So I think in the back of my mind, it was always there, but it was never really introduced to me during my development ages. So I never considered it.
Got you. So how did you feel when Andre first hit you up? I mean, you had some form of rapport
Yeah.
with him prior to to him becoming your client. But how did that feel when you first got asked to do that admin type of work? What was the impetus from there? Did you just start immediately? Did you use certain systems? Did you know what to do? Did you kind of have a blueprint before that? Like what got that going?
It's definitely no blueprint prior to that. At first, I was just like, "Is this a scam? I don't know. How can I support you?" I mean, I wasn't afraid of doing the work. I know I can complete it. But he paid me first, and I was just like, "Okay, he's serious."
Mm,
So after receiving payment first, I got to work, and then after the first month, I didn't work that many hours, but I had made $1,000. So I was just
mm,
like, well, what other entrepreneurs are looking for someone to support their task? And the reason that it just doesn't take me a long time to complete certain tasks, just because you give me something to do, I'm going to take care of the task right away. So it just didn't take me a long time to complete some of the tasks for some of my first clients. But I mean, when he first reached out to me, I was just like, okay, let's see how this goes. And then, I was working for him for maybe a year and a half, 2 years, and then my agency started to blossom and grow. So I provided him with another virtual assistant that can support him.
so did Andre, because I'm kind of sort of experiencing this with my VA right now. Did Andre also kind of motivate you to either, ways to scale, to expand, to offer more services? Like, did he give you nuggets of wisdom for business, or did you kind of find those elsewhere and bring those into your business to support him?
Absolutely. And I've tweeted this before, so I'll say it again. Because of Andre, I made an additional $250,000 last year because of Andre. Not just that, that's nothing to do with the agency, nothing to do with my 9 to 5, nothing to do with real estate. just 250,000 based off Andre. And I've tweeted that before. It's because he told me to put out a course. I had no desire to put out a course. I didn't think people would want to know. So I did a pre-sale for my course, my virtual assistant course, when I came out with it at the beginning of 2021. And apparently people wanted to learn how to become a virtual assistant.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that kind of just took off from there. And through that period, I was just able to learn more about marketing, learn more about my audience and creating a community, and it just kind of led from there. So yes, he definitely encouraged me. He was like, well, you should come out with a virtual assistant course. I was so stuck on coming out with a debt-free course. And it was important for me to go through that experience because I realized people do not care about money management. They want to know how to make money, point blank, period. And some of my clients who are in the finance space, they're like, well, let me come out with a course about budgeting. And I'm just like, people don't care about people don't care about that. They want to know how to make more money, because so many people out there, they don't even have enough money to be able to budget accordingly like they need to.
Yeah.
They don't make enough money.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a testament to, like, sometimes you need to be swayed in another direction a little bit. Absolutely. By somebody or something to get you where you really need to be getting. Because I mean, making $250,000 off of digital products, that's pretty impressive. And to have somebody like that in your life to inspire to do that, that's not many people get that. You know what I'm saying? So so let's kind of rewind a little bit. What is a virtual assistant, and why would somebody want to start a virtual assistant agency?
For sure. So a virtual assistant is basically similar to a personal assistant, but you work remotely. You may never meet your clients. So I have clients in California and Texas and Maryland. I have clients a little bit of everywhere. I've had clients outside the country before. So essentially, you're providing them some type of support, completing tasks for them or for their business. So our clients, if we wanted to just define it, it would be small business owners. People transition to create some type of virtual assistant business because a lot of the stuff that you'll do as a virtual assistant, you're already doing for your 9-to-5. But this is an opportunity for you to make an additional income in addition to your 9-to-5, or you're able to scale it up and build a virtual assistant business that will allow you to replace your 9-to-5.
Gotcha. Yeah, I love it. I love that answer. This is awesome. So, do you, at least in the course, do you either encourage or inform people, the people who want to start their virtual assistant agencies, to either niche down in certain industries, like you said, to look for more small business people? Because if you have a small business, as in less than, I don't know, maybe if you're a solopreneur or maybe less than 5 people or so, you'd probably be more apt to use a virtual assistant agency. But if you have 500 employees, then obviously you have a in-house HR, in-house secretary, all that stuff. But do you tell people or try to educate them on maybe niching down, or do you say kind of offer general services and go from there?
Yeah, so I'll make a comment about what you mentioned about a larger company. So if you look at larger virtual assistant companies, who have a ton of employees outside of like my agency, they have worked with larger corporations. They've worked with your Netflix before. They've worked with, because those bigger companies, they are looking for cheaper labor as well. So there is opportunity for people to be paired with larger companies, but you have to start the business first, grow it, scale it, and just put yourself in a position to have those type of contracts. And then in regards to, there was a second question.
Yeah. I was just saying, niching down. Did you tell them how to educate them to niche down?
So, you may be surprised because I will share this with, there are benefits to niching down. In the beginning, if you're not sure what industry you want to work with as a virtual assistant, I recommend you accept all clients. Figure out what you like, what industry you like to work with, and then at some point you can niche down. From a marketing standpoint, you can attract a certain type of client. But in the beginning, so even for my agency, I pretty much accept every type of client. I've worked with CPAs before, financial educators, influencers, business coaches, life coaches. I've had talks with pastors before, career coaches, in different spaces. Because from the most part, most of these areas want some of the same tasks completed. They want someone to manage their email. They want someone to type up a newsletter. They want someone to help them with social media support. So even though the industry varies, a lot of the tasks don't vary as much by industry.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, absolutely. So how, what is the basis of fees, a fee structure for a virtual? How much should they start charging if they're brand new? I mean, nobody really knows who they are. They might be cold calling or emailing folks. What should they be charging for their experience?
That's a good point. So I think it's important for people to understand there's going to be a difference in what they charge depending on where they're located. I know people come to Elevated Assist because they've tried the cheaper option, getting a VA in the Philippines for $10 an hour or less, and it didn't work for them. So specifically, clients come to me because they do want a virtual assistant that lives in the United States, that they're compatible with their systems. You don't have that strong language barrier, and they're usually in a similar time zones. So that's why they generally come to Elevated Assist. I also let them know that you are paying a premium coming to work with VAs in the United States, because these VAs are not going to work for $10 an hour compared to VAs in the Philippines that will work for $10 an hour. So from a starting standpoint, and this is Googleable information, so generally they would start in the US at $25 an hour, but that price can increase depending on a certain skill set that they can provide. So within my agency, we're going to start rolling out different services. So TikTok ads, sales calls, and things like that. Because we have a particular target audience and particular client we're trying to reach that needs some of those elevated services. So we're able to charge a premium for those services.
I love it. So is that what you actually like branded them, like elevated services? That's actually pretty dope.
Yeah, pretty much as elevated services. And the reason my clients helped me come to this conclusion. They will literally ask, do you all do this? Do you all do this? Do you all do this? And I'm like, we can. So let me make sure I properly train my team to be able to support that. Because again, a lot of the work these VAs are doing, it's work they've already done with their job. So if they are new with starting a virtual assistant business, they're generally not new to doing that kind of work, right? They're sending emails. Some of them are already receptionists, executive assistants, customer support. If you do well at another job, you're able to really grasp and learn from that job, no matter what the position is. I always tell people, even if you work in fast food, if you do well in your job in fast food, if you're able to get food out on time and you're able to multitask and do different positions, you're still qualified to do a customer support related position. It's what type of employee are you? What type of business owner will you be? That's more of the focus that I try to get people to think about.
That makes sense. So what's the client acquisition strategy for a new VA? Either by themselves, or they're starting to build their agency. But are they doing cold calling, cold emailing? Are they setting up their website, building it and letting them come? Like what are they doing? Social media outreach? How should they? What should they do, and what is the proper etiquette of doing such?
Absolutely. So I like to say warm emailing or warm, DMing, calling, any of that, just because I tell them about my own personal experiences. I personally hate when people reach out to me about my services and they haven't done any research. Like I literally respond to some of those emails and I say, did you do research? Have you taken a look at my website? Because what service you're telling me I need, I already have that service, right? So I don't want them to come into that mistake. So I say, follow your potential clients that you want to work with on Instagram. I don't care how many followers they got. I want you to follow them, learn them, engage with their content, engage with their story. And then at some point, plug in your position. I've observed you. I know what your overall business needs are. There are people that we've sent emails to that reach out and say, I love that you actually did your research, because it shows. Most of these business owners, they have a website. You should not be reaching out to people without doing proper research, point blank, period. So follow them on socials, take a look at their website, and figure out how you can provide a solution for them. What's going to be the benefit for them hiring you? And that should be pointed out within that email, within that DM, within that call. But also, when people ask you what you do, whenever anyone asks me, even though I do have a 9-to-5 and I do really well in my 9-to-5, I always tell people I make good money in my 9-to-5. I work in healthcare administration. But when people ask me what I do, I say I own a successful virtual assistant business. And then people want to know more once they hear that. Most people that ask me those questions, they are business owners or they know a business owner. It always comes up as, oh, let me get your contact information. I may want to work with you. So for example, when I moved to Dallas, I had a new hairdresser and she asked me what I do. Fast forward a year later, she's just now about to sign on a contract with Elevated Assist. So I always tell people to speak highly of your business, because you never know who needs your service.
I like that. So at a certain point, like at your level now, the Elevated Assist, do clients more so come to you, or are you still making those, warm introductions, those warm sales calls at the moment?
Yeah, so as of a couple of months ago, I've completely delegated all of that. I'm really overseeing the strategy, the finances of the agency. I'm getting at a point where I can breathe a little bit and move away, which is great because I was still taking some of our higher level clients. But at this point, I'm moving away and focusing on my team to be properly trained and they can duplicate the work that I was doing prior. So right now I'm really overseeing, focusing on payroll, finances, increasing the overall profitability of the agency. I always tell my team, I'm working to put my agency in a position that is sellable. So that
was my next question. You already see, you read my mind. Yes,
that's why I'm constantly improving. Anything I'm improving is to put myself in a position where it's valued enough where it can be sold.
You can be sold. That leads to about 2 or 3 more questions for sure. So yes, a comment on that one is, even in my business, and I told my mom, like, she owns a paternity testing company. Hey, my subscribers, and they know the story already. Mom owns a paternity testing company. She does everything herself though. And so I told my mom, even before I started my own, I said, hey, I'm gonna build mine out and what's the word? Outsource a lot of tasks and focus on strategy so that it is sellable, like what you said, having an exit strategy. Do have virtual assistant agencies sold in your industry? Like, do you see that often? And what's the going rate for VA agencies, if you are aware of that information?
Well, I will say what kind of so I always say this, like, I don't dream of labor. I want to get to a point where I'm chilling, right? I have no desire to work for the rest of my life. And I'm sure I'm the type of person, I'll be up in the middle of the night because I have an idea and I have to write that out. So for me to sell a company is nothing because I can always create something even better. So for me, probably at the beginning of this year, I don't know if I've heard it on a podcast, I was like, I always need stay ready and you never have to get ready. So I always in a position where my company is sellable and it's an attractive offer. This year, probably 3 months ago, what kind of escalated everything, like I need to put my systems in order, is that I was listening to a virtual assistant podcast, and this particular, I can't think of what the company was called. They had a virtual assistant business. I believe most of their virtual assistants were in the Philippines or international VAs, but they sold it for, it was at least $1.4 million. It may have been more than that, but they had only been in business for 4 years.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all. You know what? I know it's more than that. I'm lowballing it. It was more than 1.4 million. I can't think of how many millions it was, but it was millions, right? For 4 years.
7-figure exit at least. Yeah.
Exactly. And now they're in the space where they're consulting. So when I see myself, I want to be in the position where I'm just consulting, right? I've sold my business. I've done it once. I can do it again. I've learned what I needed to learn. But obviously, we're elevated since it's not there yet. But after talking to my team, we'll be there before I know it. Honestly.
What would, I don't know if I want to jinx you or ask this one. What would be the offer that you could not refuse? Would it is offer? Let's just say 7 or 8 figures. I guess 8 figures would be a lot better. But
eight figures. I would sign the paperwork tonight for sure.
Somebody's like, Annalisa, we'll give you 22 million. All right.
Yes. So I would not personally. I would probably not even entertain anything for less than 4 million.
Fair.
Because I honestly believe in my agency. There are other virtual assistant businesses and agencies out there, but the growth that I've seen in the last 2 years, and how I would bundle the deal, because you may not just get an agency, you may get a little bit more than that. So I'm just thinking about everything I offer within my overall audience. I would not entertain anything less than $4 million.
I think, and I'm just now getting into the space of consuming content about buying and selling businesses. Like, there's plenty of small business, selling podcasts and all that stuff, micro all that stuff. And I think that we might see a lot of private equity businesses buying up virtually based service businesses over the next few years. I think their value is going to, because they prove for example, during COVID, I'm quite sure your business probably had a huge uptick as well as other virtual assistants because of COVID. And so private equity is like, man, this may happen again. Who knows? We might have to be locked down again or whatever. And companies may want that. So they may buy your type of company for a higher value, a higher premium than normal. So I just that's just my little prediction right there. That's all I got to
Yeah,
say.
so there was an article, I want to say it might have been Business Insider. I did an Instagram reel about it, but they projected the outsourcing industry within the virtual assistant space by 2020 by 2030 to be a $4.12 billion industry.
Oh man,
So
wow,
I think people
wow.
need to understand, like, so I think it's important for people to understand, right? A lot of these companies, there's vacancies, right? That people don't want to work. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
one, people don't want to work, and people don't want to come into the office to work, but they still have these voids and these vacancies to fill. So they're either going to create some type of technology to fill that void. We know that technology takes a while to create, to develop, to test, and it's also expensive for some companies. What would be the other option? I would assume that it would be outsourcing. So that could be outsourcing to international companies or outsourcing within the United States. Because there's some people who don't want to work with companies outside the country,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think that there will be more opportunities in the future. So, and that's just my overall prediction, but the stats also say the same, that the utilizations of virtual assistants will be more prominent in the future.
This, what you're talking about shows the value of once you get into an industry, you enter into a business or you enter into an industry. I mean, really diving deep and learning everything you can about that industry so that you can project growth, you can project trends, you can project things going up and down. Like what the things that you're saying right now shows me and all of us who are watching that you're incredibly educated on this stuff, which is like that is extremely important.
Yes,
You spoke. You said what?
I said, absolutely, you should be obsessive.
There you go. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. 100% facts. Be obsessive. Um, so you spoke about Instagram and you've gone viral plenty of times. I don't know how many times I can count,
Yeah,
how many
I
times
went
you can
viral a
count.
few times.
What's the secret sauce to virality on on each platform? Because I think on TikTok is a little bit different, Instagram is a little bit different, Twitter is a little bit different. What's the secret sauce to virality?
That's a good question because I recently spoke at FinCon last week and we talked about social media content and it's complicated. I know why people outsource this. It's complicated and I don't really think it's a science. All I would say is be consistent. Be consistent, be
Mm,
consistent. And this is coming from someone who thought social media was completely dumb. From a business perspective, social media is free marketing for me. So when my posts go viral and there's negative comments, I always or my assistant thanks those people for their engagement. Thank you for engaging
mm,
with my content because you're just making my content continue to go up, no matter what the comments are, whether they're positive, inspirational, or they're negative comments. So what I would say is, and this is what I tell my clients: you want the content to be relatable, entertaining, um, and you want shareable content, right?
mm,
You want the content to be relatable. So for me, a lot of my clients or a lot of my audience, they're looking for an opportunity to be able to work from home. Okay, let me speak to my audience because I was in that space where I love working from home. I want everyone to work from home. I literally cook a full course meal during my lunch break because I love working from home, right? So I speak to my audience about that, seeing who can relate to me. I know it's a lot of people out there looking for an additional stream of income.
mm.
They may not want to go to a resale store. They may not want to leave their house. Let me speak towards that. If there's things in the news about teachers, I want to talk to the teachers because they may want to be a virtual assistant now. I'm talking to the stay-at-home parents. They may want to be a virtual assistant now. So I think people need to also take a look at common themes because you can kind of predict some things that may go viral. You can predict some memes that may go viral. So being tapped into themes and information can help you create viral content. I will say consistency does matter. So you can't think you can just post once every week and you have a million followers the next day. They want you to stay on the app. Like it's really a scam. It's toxic. Social media is toxic, right? They
Yeah,
want you
yeah.
to stay on the app and they want you to be consistent on the app. So they constantly come out with these new features. And when they do have new features, I recommend people always use the new features. TikTok will reward you for using things within their app and staying in the app. So when I went viral on TikTok, it was because I was posting constantly. I was posting like 4 times a day, at
Mm,
least 4 times a day, right? And I went from 500 followers to 25,000 followers in like a month, right? On Instagram, I was using their new features and I went viral and gained 15,000 followers in 1 week. use the new features. On Twitter, you just gotta say something controversial that people don't like.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
literally all you
yeah,
got to do. And that's
yeah.
been probably consistent for years. Things that I've gone viral for on Twitter, I had never planned to go viral. I honestly end up muting it afterwards because I'm like, I don't really care about what y'all talking about.
Yeah, because they just end up arguing. I think you went viral a couple months ago so I forgot. You said something, and everybody was like, they just, I was like, oh damn, they jumping her.
It's
But I'm
so
pretty
interesting. I think I had made a comment about people not wanting to have kids or wanting to get married. And like,
there it was.
but I was having a nice dialogue with like for an hour, like with people and like understanding where they were coming from. And I was just like, well, I got to a point where I was just like, I don't really feel like responding anymore. So let me go ahead and do this. I didn't realize that tweet had gone viral and people were going crazy until somebody screenshotted it. And I was like, I muted that like 20 hours ago. That's it.
Yeah.
So it is.
So that was gonna be my next question is protecting your mental state and your peace after you go viral. And also preserving your ego. How does that have an effect on your ego and your mind state of going viral? Has that had an effect on you before?
I don't think so. So I will say that there will be times where, because again, I don't mind the negative comments. Again, when I post, if I'm getting posted on another page and people are arguing, I always get the most signups for my webinar. Like y'all talking about it, and you still end up buying the course in the end of the day. It's just like it's weird. It's like performative. Like you still secretly want to know what I'm doing. So I personally don't mind it, but also I have a social media assistant. She responds. So some of the comments I don't even see, right? But then I know people. Like I observe people. Those people are just insecure. I can't do anything about that. I can literally say, hey, I'm giving away $100,000. People in the comments are going to say you're a scammer. I've done that work. I've already realized that people are unhappy and I can't make them happy. So for me, I mean, I don't really see as many comments. My social media assistant manages it. We laugh at some of the comments because it's just like, relax.
Yeah.
But I also take it in, right? I take in some of if some people are saying the same thing, I was like, okay, let me work on my messaging. Let me make sure it's not clear. I think an account posted me today and people think this sounds like MLM. And I'm just like, let me understand from your perspective how a free webinar sounds like I'm selling a product. So I wrote, if anybody is confused, as a virtual assistant, you're not selling any sort of product. You're offering a service similar to a personal assistant. So I think people immediately get confused, but also it's social media. People will literally send you death threats because of a 15-second video. People aren't well. So let me just say people aren't well. I think as my following grows, I'm a little bit more cautious when I do leave my house because this year leaving my house and just traveling and people saying, are you just Annalisa, is still very, very weird for me. So
that's scary.
Yeah, and it comes with the territory because I talked about this on another podcast, and I'm just like, a part of me is like, because I'm a homebody, I'm an introvert at heart. I don't like to be around a large group of people for a long period of time. So, but when people start saying, "Are you just Annalisa?" and I'm just like, "How do you know me?" It's just like at that point, I'm just like, let me be a little bit more cautious about what I say to people, how I respond to people online, because people are crazy, but also like who I keep around me in my circle.
That was kind of sort of going to be my next question is kind of veering off of VA stuff a little bit, but just mind state. It's like, well, you kind of answered it. You're more introverted. I was like, would you rather be rich and famous or just rich? You know what I mean?
Rich. You
kind of answered.
Yeah. Rich. I don't need to be rich and known. I would be, my overall goal again, sell the company, do some consulting for a few years and live on my ranch with my huge garden somewhere.
There you go. With your dog. Your Labradoodle.
Maybe some horses or something.
There you go. I love it. So what, wrapping up, what should somebody look for, when they actually starting their virtual assistant business, either themselves as a solopreneur or eventually expanding to an agency? What are the actionable steps that someone should take to do that?
One, write it out, plan it out. Everything that I've written down on a piece of paper, I've achieved every single goal I've ever written down on a piece of paper. Literally write out what you want your life to look like. You need to have some sort of plan so that you know what target to reach. I don't want you just to say, oh, I want to be a millionaire. Well, how are you going to get there? Like, what streams are you going to do? And for me, I need to be able to visualize doing that, right? I can literally break down how I can make $500,000 in a year. I can literally break that down, right? Some people say they want to make six figures. They haven't written it down. They haven't broke down the pricing structures. How many clients do I need to be able to make six figures a year? What does my pricing need to be? What type of client do I need? So I think people need to plan, right? Plan and track that information. Also, figure out how you're going to be consistent. Marketing is a huge piece. That's one of the things that I learned about business. We've all seen terrible products and terrible services become very profitable because their marketing is A1. So make sure you are in front of your target audience every single day. It used to be weird for me to promote myself every day. But when I started to promote myself consistently, as a result, I started to make more money. So it started to make sense to me. The people that need to see your product or your service, they're going to see it. But they won't see it if you're not consistent, if you're not promoting it, if you're just promoting it to your private group of people, right? So I would say create a plan, figure out your marketing strategy, and don't be afraid to pivot and change your marketing strategy if it gets exhausted, because they do. As you can exhaust ads, you can exhaust your content strategy. People always say, how do I know what to put on Instagram, on TikTok? These social media platforms literally have blogs. Go on their website. They will literally write out their new features. They will literally give you examples of content to look at. If you're doing Facebook ads, if you're doing TikTok ads, there's literally a gallery of ads and stuff that you can mimic and look at other businesses. So the blueprint is actually out there. People just have to look for it.
Fair. And that blueprint is also in your course as well.
Blueprint is definitely my course. So I call it the Ultimate Virtual Assistant Bootcamp. It's over 10 hours of pre-recorded content. And it literally gives people step-by-step on how to start their virtual assistant business. So it's separate videos and it does have homework. I want people to do the homework. I want people to be consistent. And that's how you get results. And I always tell people, be consistent. Like, I will literally message people that are in my program. It looks like you haven't posted on your account since March. What are we doing? Like, I thought you wanted a virtual assistant business. And I think that's the difference between people that are extremely successful and the people that aren't successful. Consistency. And I always tell people the bar is really low. I'm aware that the bar is so low. For me to be where I want to be, people are making it way too easy for me. Give me some competition. It's no competition out here.
That's a word right there, for real. Yeah, even in my industry, the bar is low. It's extremely low.
Teach me something. Make me want to copy off you. Like,
yeah.
Give me something to reference. So consistency will always beat them. Like, even I do stuff even when I don't feel like doing it. I will always win. I
love it. Where can the people find you, Annalisa?
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram at Just Annalisa. That's JustAnnalisa. That's also the same name on TikTok. I'm on Pinterest as well as YouTube. I just got to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Be sure to follow me there, because not only do I share with people virtual assistant opportunities, I also share with people remote job opportunities, because I do want people to work from home, whatever that looks like for you. You can make a 6-figure salary, have unlimited PTO, and be working from home. The options are generally endless. But also you can find me at www.justannalisa.com. If you are a business owner looking for a virtual assistant that lives in the United States, I will say reach out to me via www.elevatedassist.com. We are currently accepting clients, but we're filling up pretty quickly. We have a handful of clients in the pipeline to support our team.
Boom. Y'all, you heard it. You heard it directly from her. You better get on it, because for sure. I believe that I found my virtual assistant through you. I think probably on Twitter or something like that, and just down into your Slack or your private group is where I found your virtual assistant. And now she has hired a subcontractor to support my business. She is expanding based on that. So thank you so much for that.
I love that. Yeah. I love that.
She's expanding. Annalisa, I appreciate you coming on. And hey, everybody, look, go follow her, get her information. If you are interested in work from home, go for it. In addition to that, everybody, look, if you like this video, like it, subscribe it, share, show the people. There might be somebody out there that might want to start their own virtual assistant agency and had no idea where to start. Here you go. This is the information right here. Until next time, everybody, thank you.